The issue that I have is not with the strategy calls, it's not with Max's aggression, it's nothing to do with anything like that. My beef is with the FIA and the lack of consistency that just seems to be splashed around these days. The thing about rules is that you might not like them, but life needs them. And without rules, you have chaos. And that's exactly what we got this afternoon in Formula One. We got chaos because nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew what they were supposed to do. Everybody got messed around. People got forgotten. It was a nightmare. And if I'm feeling this aggrieved as a fan, I can't even begin to understand how drivers and teams must be feeling right now, because it wasn't fair. And I'm not talking about, Lewis's pit stop strategy or Max even catching him at the end. That was to be a little bit expected. My problem is that there were certain elements to how the FIA handled the situation after Latifi crashed that just kind of make me feel as a fan that the FIA don't actually know what they're doing, and that they are in some way sort of pandering to the entertainment side of things. Formula One is a sport. It is a demonstration of excellence on a platform which, you have to be at the pinnacle of your profession to be in. And if that is being in some way manipulated by the people who are meant to control the safety and, regulate the rules of this platform, then you feel, you feel cheated. And that's not fair. So things like, Michael Massey saying, we're not gonna ask the lapped cars to overtake the safety car. Okay. I mean, there is a reason for doing that, but okay, this is what you're going for. Now, after Red Bull have said their piece and Jonathan Wheatley has whined down the phone to Michael Massey, not the phone, you know what I mean. After all of that, then with not enough time to go, so not enough time to actually follow the procedures set out by the regulations for safety cars, they've changed their mind and they've allowed the 4 cars in between Lewis and Max to now overtake the safety car. And that means that Lewis and Max can now fight it out after the safety car comes in for position for first. Okay, that's all well and good. But what about Carlos? Carlos Sainz sitting there, hasn't put a foot wrong for the entire race, kind of ground himself up for the position, overtook Lando, got to where he needed to be, and then when it comes down to the lapped cars, Michael Massey cares about getting rid of the cars in between Lewis and Max, but he's not bothered about getting rid of the cars in between Max and Carlos. Carlos, you just stay in the back. You're not part of this fight, so you take your 3rd place and you be happy with that. And that, to me, that's not fair. Across the board, the drivers need to be treated equally. They need to have an equal chance to succeed. And if that means you've got to follow the regulations and finish a title shot on a safety car in order to uphold the regulations, then that is what you do. I would have been much, much happier that the safety car led those cars in for the finish than I would be that it happened the way it did, because Lewis and Max aside, the rules were not followed and we ended up with chaos. And I feel like I'm not watching Formula One anymore. I feel like I'm watching Netflix, except it goes around the world and follows every fortnight instead of just watching the whole thing in February. And that, it hurts me. I've watched Formula One for a long time and it doesn't sit right. and I want it to be better. We have an opportunity for this to be better. This is, to me, this is the greatest sport that exists. These 20 men, or 19 today, are, that they are the best at what they do, and they should be allowed to do the best. And as someone who hasn't supported Max or Lewis, the midfield is where I get my joy. Seeing the midfield battle, particularly like this year between McLaren and Ferrari, watching Lando and Carlos kind of have a go at each other from the different teams now. It's been a joy to watch. Charles has been in there. Pierre Gasly's been in there. Yuki's been up there today. Even like Fernando and Esteban, everyone's had a shot, and you want them to have as much opportunity to do what they do best as everybody else. I mean, look at the week before when they were squabbling over the positions for the restart after the red flag after Schumacher crashed and they had to rebuild the barrier. Telling Red Bull that Max would be starting in second behind Lewis. Where's Esteban? You can't just completely forget about drivers just because they're not in the title race. That's rude. Michael Massey is rude. Esteban Ocon was absolutely in a position down to his own skill, and maybe there was a little bit of luck involved. There's always luck involved. Sebastian Vettel wouldn't be a 4 times world champion if there wasn't luck involved. But you take that luck when it comes to you. You don't give that luck to people purposefully because you think that it will mean that more people will watch the race or more people will have a great time. That's garbage. I'm not here for that. I'm here for everybody having as best a time as possible. And that's what's made me mad. It's made me mad that Carlos was overlooked as being someone that didn't deserve to have the opportunity to fight for his position in the way that Max did. Protect the first two. Give them the chance to fight it out, but everybody else just take what you're given.